Donald J. Trump to be allowed back on Facebook and Instagram. So here's a question for you. A couple months ago, he first is back on Twitter. Now Facebook and Instagram let him back on, which when they say Facebook and Instagram, really what they're saying is Facebook, because Facebook owns Instagram. So the last one that hasn't said it yet is who? Is YouTube. And I don't even know if he's on LinkedIn or not, but YouTube is the only one that's left to let him back on. The question I got for you is, why are the top 3 most traffic websites, social media companies, 3 out of the 5, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, why are they bringing him back on at a time like this? Is it, one, they're sick and tired of Biden and they just want this guy to come in? Is it, 2, they're afraid that McCarthy is about to go out there and investigate the hell out of them? So before doing that, they're already letting them loose 2 weeks after McCarthy wins Speaker of the House. Oh, shit. You know what? Just to be nice and play nice, let's let Trump back on Facebook and Instagram. Is that 2? Or 3, it's just about time for us to let him back on.
It's business, Pat. Just like you said with the vaccine, they're putting it in a drink right now. They know, it's coming. He's going to announce, he already announced he's going to be running for president. You know how much traffic is going to be on their sites?
You think
when
so?
He's posting? 100%.
That's why it is?
100%. He's going to be on Instagram. He's going to be on Facebook because they're connected, right?
Tom, what do you think?
He's going to be all over it.
I think what's going on below the surface is Operation BID, B-I-D, Biden Investigations DeSantis. Facebook is worried about the investigations with McCarthy. I think you're absolutely right. They want nothing to do with a chair on Capitol Hill asking questions. They also, I believe, are fearing DeSantis the more these polls come out, although there were some polls this week that showed Trump was doing much better. And I think it was not the establishment's desire for Biden to come out and say, I've talked to my wife, Jill and I, we're absolutely running. Remember, that was kind of impromptu. Yep. It was kind of off microphone, impromptu. That was not set up. That was not a big announcement. I think there are people in the Democrat machine were like, the DNC were like, doggone it. He's not supposed to do that. And I think that the machine wants him not to run. Tech was worried about investigations. And also they're worried about DeSantis. Well, what better way to help neutralize DeSantis than to foment conflict at the RNC level? The easiest way to do that, let the orange man back onto Twitter, let him back onto Facebook, and let the dust kick up on the dispute.
I think sometimes, by the way, I think all of you guys have some credibility with your stories, right? And it's easy to go what you did, BIS. I think it's a BID. I think sometimes there's these rabbit hole stories we can go down. A lot of them have some truthiness to them. Sometimes it's in plain sight. 2 years ago and 2 weeks to the day, there was January 6th insurrection, how this whole thing started of banning Donald Trump, and they put a 2-year ban on Donald Trump. Voila, it's 2 years later. And sometimes it's just as easy as plain sight saying, well, it's been 2 years, we banned him for 2 years, and it's time to put him back on. Now, I do think there's a lot of credibility behind there. Like, there's nuanced discussions. What happens if we bring him on? DeSantis, Biden, investigate. I think all that is credible. But I think the major factor is it's reached the 2-year mark, and it's time to reconsider having him on.
Has he tweeted? He still hasn't tweeted.
No.
So that's just people.
I love how simple you think this is on what they're doing with this, letting back on. I think there's a lot of strategy behind what's going on. I think Twitter was just letting back on. I don't think there was anything with Twitter. I think, Musk is like sitting there saying, look, I'd love to have the MAGA crowd back on Twitter. That's traffic. That'll increase the valuation of the company. I'm all in. I think to Musk is truly, let's get the guy back into business, right? Okay. And he's waiting for this, right? Come on, tweet something. By the way, the moment Trump tweets, it'll be the most liked tweet in the history of Twitter. The moment he tweets, it's going to happen. And they're saying he's about to, by the way.
Oh, really?
His camp is saying he's about to, okay? Facebook and Instagram is slightly different on why you let him back on. Could it be ad money? Because ad money is taking a massive hit with Facebook. They're having a hard time with that. And they know if Trump runs that campaign, they're going to spend a lot of ad money on Facebook. And the one that was a machine last time was Facebook. More than YouTube, more than Twitter, more than everybody, it was Facebook. Facebook was the machine that helps with elections. So they want that money, and that's a lot of money that goes to Facebook, right? That could be one side. The other part is, they may want him to come in to make it dirtier against DeSantis, because he is going to go against DeSantis, where it could be a civil war, where it could be them going against each other, and they like that. They want that. Remember, when you think about your opponent, never underestimate your opponent and how strategic, how manipulative they could be. The Dems lead the game in manipulation, in propaganda, in creating stories, facades.
False information, all that.
Very, very.
Gangsters.
Antifa is going around destroying, rioting, fires, buildings.
Peaceful, you mean peaceful?
CNN headquarters. Mm-hmm. But then people are protesting at, what do you call it, January 6th. This is an insurrection. This is this. And then the guy on TV says, I love the fact that they're using violent with Antifa. Just because you're destroying property, that doesn't mean it's violent. Violence is when it's towards other human beings. Do you understand? Like, they're processing on how they're... And how many people have died with these Antifa protests? They're walking around with guns and riots. And how many people died with the January 6th protesting? Listen, if you put data to data together, but what was turned into a massive event, historic, the single worst event ever, worse than 9/11, worse, what are you talking about, right? But this right here, leave them alone. These people are upset.
Yeah.
Ask why they're doing this. So they get credit for games. They get credit for that. The one company that we're not talking about right now that we should, notice how Facebook allows Trump back on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, but then Google gets crushed this week, okay? I don't know if you saw the story with Google. They get crushed. Cover of Wall Street Journal, main story, the government is suing Google for the second time in 2.5 years, and they're going after them to wanting them to split up, okay? Their ad revenue a couple of years ago, they were number one at $34 billion or whatever, and then they're at $21 billion right now. They're behind, I believe, TikTok and Amazon, or TikTok and Amazon is catching up to them, but they're saying, hey, it's manipulation, it's gamesmanship, not the right way of doing this. You're listening to what people are doing, so they want to divide those guys up. So maybe Google comes out in the next week or two and says, hey, we're letting Trump back on YouTube because they also want Kevin McCarthy and their camp to take it easy on them. So all of this stuff is very, seems very like, it's just day-to-day business as usual. I don't think it is.
And on Google, I'll add one quick point. The attorney generals for the state of New York and the state of California have joined the feds in their suit.
Well, here.
Connect the dots on that. Isn't that crazy?
New York and California.
New York and California attorney generals have joined the federal suit.
Interesting.
If you want,
Isn't that interesting?
I'll read the
Very
story.
much.
Behind the scenes,
Very
somebody's
much so.
upset, huh?
Yeah.
Here you go. New York Times story right here. U.S. accuses Google of abusing monopoly in
Ad power.
ad technology. The DOJ and 8 states have filed an antitrust lawsuit against Google, accusing it of illegally abusing a monopoly over the technology that powers online advertising. It is the first such lawsuit against the tech giant under President Biden, and an escalation in legal pressure on one of the world's biggest internet companies.
These are the states, by the way. It's I'm looking at the lawsuit right now. It's 153 pages. It's the U.S. government, U.S. Department of Justice, Commonwealth of Virginia, State of California, State of Colorado, State of Connecticut, State of Jersey, State of New York, State of Rhode Island, State of Tennessee.
Jeez.
Outside of Tennessee, those are all blue states.
It's exactly. I was about to say, why is Tennessee in there? So Tennessee's also getting involved.
The lawsuit says Google's has, quote unquote, corrupted legitimate competition. There's our favorite word, competition, in the ad tech industry by engaging in systematic campaign to seize control of the wide swath of high-tech tools used by publishers, advertisers, and brokers to facilitate digital advertising. What was the number that constitutes a monopoly? Was it 60%?
64% or 60%.
Means
What's the number? Can you Google that
Yeah.
real quick? What makes a monopoly?
Yeah.
Is it 64?
We're about to find that out.
That's not that crazy, huh?
64% of the market share?
And I think last year, didn't Google
say
write
50%,
a check
but I
for
don't
Is it
$4
over
billion
50? It's
to
definitely
EU?
over 50, right? What's the number?
At what percentage does it become a monopoly? I don't know why.
By the way, while you're saying this, the lawsuit, DOJ has asked the U.S. District Court of Eastern District of Virginia to, here it is, force Google to sell much of its suite of ad technology products and to stop the company from engaging in allegedly anti-competitive practices.
Well, when they bought DoubleClick and they rolled it into AdSense, it basically, there was really any ad agency in America, there was really only one place to go.
Yeah, they had a monopoly for a minute. They don't anymore like they did before, though, but they're still being targeted. So
that's correct.
Again, a lot of these decisions are being made right after midterms, knowing that they lost House. And by the way, I love the fact that the other day Robert Reich comes out and says, so, House, what are you now going to do about what's going on with guns and with unemployment and with minimum wage? I'm like, dude, for 2.5 years, you had House, you had Senate, and you had the White House. You didn't do shit. So what the hell are you talking about, bro? Mm-hmm. What are you talking about? So again, that's the gamesmanship that is so good on what's done on the other side. You have to give the level of manipulation that they do. You got to give them credit. You got to give them credit.
I always do.
You can't underestimate the power of what those guys do on that side. Okay.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.